we have gathered here today to talk about games. Video games. Magnificent games. Legendary games. Ultra deluxe games. Hentai games. My name is Kyle, and I've devoted my entire life to video games. It's no different than a Catholic nun devoting their life to religion. I am a nun for video games, abstinence included. Due to my lifelong pursuit of this art form, I play various games, including one group of games that have recently populated the Nintendo eShop. Hentai games. Hentai World, Hentai Girls, Hentai Stars, Hentai Golf. These are just some of the hentai games I'll cover today. I've spent nearly 20 hours total playing these sinful games, staring at body parts the Lord above would smite me for, and breaking down the pros and cons of each game. I could be out there bettering myself, applying for a job that pays more than my current one, a job that treats me better. However, I decided to spend multiple weeks writing a video script about a collection of hentai games for the Nintendo Switch. Is that depressing or progressive? I have a fascination with eShop slop. I used to scroll through my eShop with one of my best friends, and we sometimes found hilariously bad games. This was during an era where an awful game only appeared infrequently when searching the new releases tab on the Nintendo eShop. Fast forward 4 years and it's the opposite. It's challenging to find quality and genuine games in the recent releases tab. It's oversaturated with cheap games that rely on a corrupt part of human nature to leech off their wallets for $1 or $2. For months, I stared at these wicked video games with hentai in the title and fought my urges. But eventually, the demons won, and I purchased them all. The deal I made with the devil was that if I bought these games, I would make an hour-long video about them. So once again, content is above morals. That's kind of my life message now. I bought multiple hentai games, and I'm here to tell you if these games are worth your money, your $17.12. This video is about to be way too long, so let's get into this world of hentai. Super Mario World, World of Warcraft, Hentai World. It's just natural evolution. Hentai World is the first game in the hentai heptalogy published by RedDeer.Games. Hentai World was first released on February 24th, 2023. 5 pieces of DLC were later released, but more on the DLC in a bit. Since the initial launch, Hentai World has received 18 iterations after its launch on the eShop as of writing this on August 10th, 2024. Hentai World Deluxe Edition, Hentai World Ultimate Edition, Hentai World Extended Edition, Hentai World Special Edition, Hentai World Premium Edition, Hentai World Definitive Edition, Hentai World Complete Edition, Hentai World Legendary Edition, Hentai World Platinum Edition, Hentai World Director's Cut, Hentai World Game of the Year Edition, Hentai World Happy Edition, Hentai World Amazing Edition, Hentai World Magnificent Edition, Hentai World Superb Edition, Hentai World Ultra Deluxe, Hentai World Ultra Ultimate, and Hentai World Ultra Extended. None of these editions, the Definitive and Complete Edition included, offer all 5 pieces of DLC in one package. Each edition includes a variation of the 5 available DLC for Hentai World. The only way to buy a version of Hentai World with all the DLC is if you buy the Hentai Games collection, which includes Hentai World, Hentai Girls, Hentai Stars, Hentai Golf, and each game's respective DLC. It's not like this is a financial issue, because all of Hentai World's DLC is free. It's just a hassle to navigate Nintendo's archaic eShop at prehistoric speeds. The fact that this game has been relisted 18 different times in less than 2 years is comical. But it's also clever. Each time a new version is released, the game shows up in the Recent Releases tab in the Nintendo eShop. This is how so many Switch users have been exposed to these games. It's become a running joke on social media sites. While some will see it as a joke, many are genuinely curious about the game. Is there actual nudity? Is the gameplay fun? How good is the art? Can you play it one-handed? Allow me to answer all these questions for you. Before deep diving into the game, let's be an intelligent and cautious purchaser of video games and read the eShop description first. Hentai is art.
It's called hentai, and it's art.
The show The Office holds too much power in our society. I've only seen 2 seasons of The Office, but some people's lives revolve around that show. The 2 seasons of the show I watched were good, but is it good enough to base an entire personality around it? I don't think so. Regardless, people who do that are better than me because they're not in Florida, sitting in a dark room with a camera pointed at them, dissecting hentai games for the Nintendo Switch at 1:55 a.m. This is a labor of love, increasing difficulty. The difficulty will increase depending on the outfit of the girl you're helping out. Every success on your part will make them happier. Key features: hand-drawn hentai art. Write this down. We'll circle back to it. Relaxing music track. Write this down too. Simple gameplay mechanics. I'm glad they're honest about the simplicity of this game, because it sure is a whole bunch of nothing. Also, did they really say this is a party game? Huh? Now that we've read the description and are genuinely interested in the game, or horny, let's spend our hard-earned bread to purchase it. I had to make a new account on my Switch, because the last time I opened a hentai game on Switch, all my friends laughed at me and called me names. This is my shameful account, and a friendly reminder that Nabbit is the most fabulous Mario character. RedDeer.Games. Good lord! Ma'am! Please put that thing away! Immediately, my biggest complaint is that the D-pad can't be used in this game. Absolute garbage game. The game offers 60 puzzles to solve, 12 different images to undress, 3 different women. The free DLC adds 25 puzzles, 5 new pieces of art, kind of, and 2 new women have been added to the roster. The women in Hentai World are Rose, Nanami, Akane, Sayori, and Chiyo. I wish I could offer a description of each woman's personality, but unfortunately, I know nothing about them beyond them being horny. Interestingly enough, Hentai World has some dialogue. After solving a sliding puzzle, the woman you're undressing speaks. "Ah, where's my dress? I'm so vulnerable," Rose says as you take her dress off. "Come closer. I want to feel the warmth of your neck." I can't say I've ever heard that saying before. "Come and see what I'm hiding. Look deeper. This dress is not needed." Ma'am, this sounds like a riddle for an I Spy game. In fact, playing I Spy would be more complicated than these damn sliding puzzles. The puzzles in question are brain-dead sliding puzzles. Anyone can watch how the puzzles move when first starting, and move them in reverse, and bam! Puzzle solved, titty is out. And when I mean titty is out, I do mean titty does actually come out. This game is rated M for partial nudity, so I knew I was buying actual hentai when I purchased it. Many people seem shaken by the fact that there's nudity in the game, when I think it's valid to have nudity in a video game. Red Dead Redemption is on the Switch, and that game has a sex scene. Why can't video games feature nudity? Of course, nudity is sexual here, but nudity doesn't always equal sexual. During my first year of high school, I took an art class with a teacher who was incredibly passionate about art. We had an entire course covering art history, where we looked at older sculptures and drawings, many nude art pieces. Of course, as guaranteed as climate change, a 15-year-old boy in my class named Gary snickered at the genitals we were being shown. My art teacher called him out and grilled him. It was hilarious. But after grilling him, she brought up a point about how nudity can be used in art and how it isn't always inherently sexual. At the time, all I could think of was boobs, penis, vagina, Halo, Call of Duty, fun. And now, I still think that, but 17.12% of me understands what she was getting at. I think our society is a little hypersensitive to nudity. To preface, I'm not saying go out and get naked and flash minors because nudity is natural. No. I don't like how nudity is viewed as taboo. Likely because of modern society being built on religions that shame revealing skin, and class discrimination, but that's another tangent. Nudity was once accepted and not shamed, and I think it's silly how it's always linked with sexuality in today's age, when it's a natural thing. I don't know, that's just me. Want me to get nude? I'll rip off all these clothes if you want. So hey, nudity is okay for games as long as it has the appropriate rating. So let's look at more titty! While on the beach with the lovely Nanami, an assault almost happens. Whoops, I didn't ask you to take off my skirt. Would you like to see more? She had me in the first half, I won't lie. Is she consenting to stripping? Or is she upset? She continues to strip after this, but I feel rather icky about the whole thing. I really don't like this one. Don't make me beg for your touch. I think she's okay with it. And those sweet tie-ties. Woo, mama. Them tie-ties. This training was something else. It's time to get out of these wet cloths. The dialogue was clearly written by someone whose first language isn't English, which is fine, but they could have hired someone fluent in English to proofread the lines, or they could have bought Grammarly at the very least. Grammarly doesn't sponsor me. The poor grammar is proof that this game was just thrown together to get money from horny gamers and curious gamers alike. I'm not horny, I'm just curious. The DLC for Hentai World is free, so they aren't terribly greedy. On March 17th, 2023, the first batch of DLC was released. It added 2 new women to the roster, Sayori and Chiyo. The final batch of DLC, which included a new costume for Akane, Nanami, and Rose, was released on May 30th, 2023. First, the new costumes for the original girls are for the fur lovers. It's anthropomorphic DLC time, baby. Nanami becomes a puppy with cute ears and a tail. Rose becomes a kitty with cute ears and a tail. And Akane becomes a fox with cute ears and a tail. It's the same art as before, just with fur. The most unfortunate thing with this art is that they cut the dialogue entirely. I was hoping maybe they'd add barking sounds for Nanami. What a lovely day, bark! The sun is so hard, bark! It's time to take a dip, bark, bark! You know, something like that. That'd be pretty cool. However, the 2 new women in the DLC, Sayori and Chiyo, have dialogue. And their lines are mostly issue-free, grammar-wise, which gives hope for future hentai games and its writing. That's honestly the entire game. The art is pleasant to look at least, and it's hand-drawn according to the eShop page. You can tell this is likely original art compared to other art found online. Even though this game feels rushed, has very little content, and is filled with poor English, it's authentic. And before we wrap up, I didn't even get to talk about the bumpin' soundtrack. This is the entire soundtrack. If you search Hentai World OST on YouTube, you'll find a video that's just 3 minutes long. It's one track. At least the eShop description didn't lie to us. Relaxing music track. Track. Not plural. One single track. Hentai World. If I were a paid full-time video game reviewer with a more successful career, how would I review this product? Woo. Hentai World delivers a formula seen time and time again. While the earnest art can be delightful, even if sometimes the opposite of arousing, the simplistic puzzles will disappoint seasoned puzzle goers. Hentai fans won't find much here that they can't find in a simple Google search. The game struggles to find an audience because of its all-around lackluster quality. We here at SGN give Hentai World a 3 out of 10. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to be informed when the next hentai review drops, which is right now. I've combined both Hentai Girls and Hentai Stars into a single section. They share a lot of the same DNA, and there isn't much to say about them independently. I also could not come up with at least 1,472 words for each game, and I require a 1,472 word count for something to have a dedicated section in my video scripts. So let's look at more girls. Only a few months after Hentai World came the highly anticipated sequel on June 2nd, 2023, Hentai Girls. Let's run through every edition of Hentai Girls available on the Nintendo eShop. Hentai Girls Deluxe Edition, Hentai Girls Ultimate Edition, Hentai Girls Extended Edition, Hentai Girls Special Edition, Hentai Girls Premium Edition, Hentai Girls Definitive Edition, Hentai Girls Complete Edition, Hentai Girls Legendary Edition, Hentai Girls Platinum Edition, Hentai Girls Director's Cut, Hentai Girls Game of the Year Edition, Hentai Girls Happy Edition, Hentai Girls Amazing Edition, Hentai Girls Magnificent Edition, Hentai Girls Superb Edition, Hentai Girls Ultra Deluxe, Hentai Girls Ultra Ultimate, Hentai Girls Ultra Extended, and Hentai Girls Ultra Special. Despite the game releasing after Hentai World, Hentai Girls has one more follow-up edition than its predecessor. At the time of recording, Hentai World Ultra Special does not exist, but Hentai Girls Ultra Special does. Checkmate, Hentai World, you're trash! I'd wager Hentai Girls sold more since the title is more straightforward. Therefore, it gets priority with re-releases. That's just a guess though. Hentai Girls received 2 waves of DLC. The first wave released a few weeks later on June 23rd, 2023, and it introduced 3 new images and puzzles to undress and solve. The second wave hit Nintendo eShop on December 11th, 2023, just in time for the holidays as the perfect stocking stuffer. This introduced 3 new puzzles with anthropomorphic alternate art for previous art already in the game. The eShop description is the same. The office hentai joke.
It's called hentai, and it's art.
Hand-drawn hentai art. Relaxing music, track. Unique premise. Is it a unique premise when it's almost the same game as Hentai World? By the way, it's almost the same game as Hentai World. It's still RedDeer.Games. It's the same sliding puzzles. It's the same concept, removing clothes. It's the same menu layout. I still can't use the D-pad. But at least the game has a new song. One single song again. The most significant change in the game, beyond the cast of women, is the art style. It is remarkably different from Hentai World. Now, this art style sure looks familiar, but I think we'll touch on that later. Let's talk about the lineup of women in this game. The purple-haired maid, Etsuko, the wealthy solo apartment owner in a bustling city, Shirayuki, and Yui, the pink teal-haired woman who seems like the kind of woman who hates to admit that she likes you. Or I guess tsundere for short. Shout out to Yui though, since she's the only girl who leaves the house, and the only one willing to commit indecent exposure in a public park. Good to see you touch some grass, Yui! My biggest disappointment is how Hentai Girls completely ditched dialogue in any form. It's what made Hentai World somewhat enjoyable to me. I want some writing in this game to make the woman feel more natural, to feel more real. What led Etsuko to become a maid? What kind of spelling errors would Shirayuki make? Why does Yui look pissed all the time? Even if the writing was sloppy, it at least added more meat to this meatless chicken wing of a game. The only character traits for these 3 women are in the title of the DLC: Cleaning Yui, Waiting Shirayuki, Playful Etsuko. The DLC title confirms that Shirayuki waits all day to strip, probably because she does nothing and lives off of her parents' fortune. That's my read of her character, at least. Then there's Cleaning Yui, but something seems off here. Let's back up a moment. Yui is the exhibitionist with pink hair, but the DLC is for Etsuko, the maid. And then there's the other DLC, Playful Etsuko? But that's Yui! The developers care so little about this game that they messed up the DLC names. Even in the Fur DLC, the names are messed up. Which is canon? The developers also had to type the description of each DLC and still got it wrong. It's bewildering how little effort went into this game and its DLC. Many people on social media scream the term lazy game developers, which is very silly since most game developers dedicate their lives and souls to their work. If a game doesn't look good, then nearly every time it isn't the developer's fault. It's the higher-ups who don't know how to manage properly. So let's collectively stop using the term lazy game developers, unless it's ironic. I love irony. But speaking unironically, the developers for Hentai Girls, please, at least know your characters' names, especially when there are only 3 total. Alright, for this next game, I need some J-pop in my life. There we go. Hentai Stars Deluxe Edition, Hentai Stars Ultimate Edition, Hentai Stars Extended Edition, Hentai Stars Special Edition, Hentai Stars Premium Edition, Hentai Stars Definitive Edition, Hentai Stars Complete Edition, Hentai Stars Legendary Edition, Hentai Stars Platinum Edition, Hentai Stars Director's Cut, Hentai Stars Game of the Year Edition, Hentai Stars Happy Edition, Hentai Stars Amazing Edition, Hentai Stars Magnificent Edition. That's all the editions of Hentai Stars. I'm honestly impressed that they keep the same subtitles in the same order for each of their games. It always goes Deluxe, Ultimate, Extended, Special, Premium, Definitive, Complete, Legendary, Platinum, Director's Cut, Game of the Year, Happy, Amazing, Magnificent, Superb, Ultra Deluxe, Ultra Ultimate, Ultra Extended, Ultra Special. I don't know what will come next. It might have something to do with Ultra, but at this point, these are coming out weekly, and I will never get this video done if I had to keep readjusting this novella-length script each time a new hentai game gets a new version. Listing all these editions may be draining for the viewer, or they may think it's padding, but this is my burden. I must do this. I have to tell you about every edition. It may also seem like this video is just me reading off a Wikipedia page. I'm not. I wish these games had a Wikipedia page. It would make my life easier, but they don't. This video is effectively their Wikipedia page. You're welcome, humanity, but stars. Hentai Stars. Releasing on August 11th, 2023, Hentai Stars takes the tried and true formula of Hentai World and Hentai Girls and applies it to the world of idols. Or, according to their eShop description, the world of anime. The game is about 3 idols, or anime girls, whichever you prefer. Ayumi, Ran, and Tsubaki. RedDeer.Games. The reason why I decided to group Hentai Stars and Hentai Girls is for multiple reasons. The art style is the same, the gameplay is the same, the lack of narrative is the same, the D-pad erasure is the same, and most importantly, they share the same music track. There is no complete Hentai Girls official soundtrack video or a complete Hentai Stars official soundtrack video online. There's only Hentai Girls / Hentai Stars complete official soundtrack, since they use the same song. This isn't even a lazy game developer moment. It's a lazy composer moment. It's a joke. It's a joke. The composers are not lazy. And plus, video game composers are video game developers, by the way. The eShop lists the music as a feature. Sensual music track. Sensual. What a word. Word of the day. Sensual. It's funny how in the description of Hentai Stars it says sensual music track, but the description of Hentai Girls says relaxing music track. But they're the same song, so which is it? Relaxing or sensual? Relaxing and sensual are not synonyms. I'm getting more mixed signals here than I did on my Fortnite date in 2020 when I got stood up. I watched Inception all by myself in Fortnite. Please tell me how this song makes you feel, viewer. Would you bang to this song? I wouldn't bang to this song. I prefer Splatoon music for that activity. Like Hentai Girls, there is no dialogue in this game. We have 3 idols living everyday lives. Ayumi wears a bunny suit at home. Ran loves to strip in the middle of the street. And Tsubaki seems only to strip while she's performing. They all strip on a stage at one point. What kind of country allows idols to strip like this? It's a video game, and they're obviously in a fantasy version of Earth, an anime version of Earth, but I want to learn more about this world they're in, where it's okay to get naked in the middle of the road and have your tits out in front of thousands in a stadium arena. Just like the previous games, there is free DLC. 3 of the DLC include a new picture of each woman. These were released a few weeks after the launch on September 5th, 2023. Then, a second wave of DLC came a week after Valentine's Day in 2024 for those lonely singles who survived Valentine's Day. The second wave is the standard anthropomorphic DLC. Ayumi is a fox, Ran is a meow meow, and Tsubaki is a pup. Although the developers went above and beyond for the DLC this time. Instead of only adding ears and tails to a previous picture, they created a whole new image for each. This makes Hentai Stars have the second most content out of all the hentai games I've covered thus far. Hentai World still leads by having 2 extra puzzles over Hentai Stars, and that's because Hentai World is the best, baby! The best 3 out of 10 I've ever played! See, the reason why I combine these 2 games is because I'm already running out of things to discuss. Because Hentai Stars is no different than Hentai Girls or Hentai World. At least Hentai World gave my eyes something to do other than gaze longingly at tai-tais. The only thing going through my mind while playing this is how far video games have come. If I traveled back to 1985, would Shigeru Miyamoto have changed careers if I told him there would be a way to view nipples on a portable gaming device and that his creation, Super Mario Bros., was the catalyst? What about Noyes Chapman, the man who created sliding puzzles? What about the nameless caveman who first drew on walls? What about the stars involved in the Big Bang? How would these celestial bodies feel about the ease of access to nipples? Hentai games gave me an existential crisis. Let's not forget that at the end of the day, these are hentai games. Hentai games typically accompany another physical activity. So the question is inevitable. Can you play any of these games with one hand? Short answer, yes, but not comfortably. Long answer, it is possible to play Hentai World, Hentai Girls, or Hentai Stars with one hand so you can jerk the other. However, it is wildly uncomfortable. The ordinary gamer grips the handles of a Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Their index fingers rest on the trigger buttons, and their thumbs do most of the work by controlling the analog sticks and pressing buttons. The optimal position to play this one-handed is for the player to use their pinky on the analog stick and their index finger on the A button. The ring finger can substitute the pinky finger if the player struggles to use their pinky finger. Depending on the length of the fingers and width of the hand, the middle finger could be used, but things could get uncomfortable. And that's the last thing anyone wants in this situation. Now, if the D-pad were usable, controlling the cursor in-game wouldn't be as tricky with the pinky finger. But alas, these developers hate the D-pad. Even though it would have been the perfect solution, sideways Joy-Con is not an option. So be sure to buy a Nintendo Switch Pro controller if you plan on multitasking while playing these games. Playing this game one-handed makes me feel like Masahiro Sakurai during the Banjo presentation for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. If Nintendo created a super cool accessibility-focused controller that allowed disabled gamers to customize their controls as both PlayStation and Xbox did, then that would be ideal in this situation. If Hentai World, Hentai Girls, or Hentai Stars come to other consoles, I will not repurchase them, but I'll be happy for the sole gamer who owns an accessibility controller and a console and wants to beat their meat while beating hentai puzzles. In a world where Nintendo saw this video and publicly responded with a PR message, they would argue that players can change the button mapping in the Switch settings. Which is true, although it's far from a perfect solution. The most one can do is change a D-pad button to the A button, so the player only has to use either their index finger and thumb or middle finger and index finger to solve puzzles. Or they could change the left analog stick's functionality to be on the right analog stick, making, once again, the thumb and index finger most vital to the double tasking session. One-handed play is essential to hentai gaming gamers, so I had to spend far more time than necessary talking about this. Thanks for listening. That wasn't padding, I promise. Instead of reviewing these games, I'm using the tried and true algorithm pleaser, the tier list. Hentai World, B tier. Thanks for actually trying a bit. Hentai Girls, D tier. It's absolute trash, 1 out of 10. Hentai Stars? C tier, because its DLC offers something of value beyond tails and ears. 2 out of 10. Will any hentai games end up in the A or S tier? Perhaps a game that takes place on the golf course? The only stroking we're doing during these games is a golf stroke. Hentai Golf, because they couldn't live exclusively off puzzle games. We're all excited to see how hentai will be on the golf course. Still, before diving into the actual game, one of the most exciting developments since Hentai Stars is that Hentai Golf reveals the developer behind these games in the opening credits. There's no longer a logo that says the publisher, RedDeer.Games. It now shows Bikini Games, the studio behind these, dare I say, sensual games? Or should I say relaxing games? I tried looking up the company Bikini Games, and of course it's a bad idea to simply Google Bikini Games. I couldn't find much on them beyond a small write-up at the end of a press release for their non-hentai game Love Elysium: Secret of the Goddess, released in June 2024. More on that game later. Here is the small write-up. Bikini Games is a new studio with mostly women on board and a passion for making visual novels in an anime art style. Fans of the genre can rejoice as the games of their creation can both be naughty and nice, as the more mature content is not a taboo for Bikini Games developers. Binge-watching anime series is included in their schedule. Having a studio with primarily women on staff is excellent. Video game development desperately needs more women. Hopefully they foster a healthy work environment. But also, why does the one development studio run primarily by women have to be a development studio that makes hentai games? They go on to talk about how mature content isn't taboo, which is a nice thing to hear. I spoke earlier about how nudity can be viewed as taboo because of how our society was molded. Binge-watching anime series is a silly thing to add, but whatever makes you more relatable as a video game company. My real question is, which anime? Because I get the feeling that they watch Rent-a-Girlfriend. After 3 whole games, it's nice to know who's behind the curtain making these masterpieces. Now, will Hentai Golf surpass the previous games? Let's find out. Releasing on December 15th, 2023, Hentai Golf promises to deliver 3 amazing girls who will cheer you up after a long day of work, give you classical golf gameplay, 40 maps with unique layouts, and as always, an energetic soundtrack. Head to the golf course after a hard day at work and meet 3 stunning businesswomen, Yumiko, Narumi, Misa, and show them how to become a master of the golf field. Sorry, golf field? Is that a thing? Sorry, I'm not a golf expert. Golf field. Okay, here's the first thing on Google. What is a golf field called? A golf course. They should have just wrote golf course. This is stupid. I have never felt more compelled to go golfing. Growing up, I wasn't big into sports. I played soccer for about 9 years, baseball for about 5 years, basketball for 2 years, and tennis for 1 year. But never more. All of them were recreational except for 1 year of soccer, which I played for my middle school. And as someone who is not very competitive, it was draining. When it came to golf, my parents never suggested it or pushed me into trying. This is likely because my dad was forced to play golf at his miserable job, and he was awful at it. But now and then, I would go to a driving range with my dad and smack some balls. The only exposure I had to the actual game of golf was through video games. Mario Golf 64, Super Monkey Ball 2, Wii Sports, Nintendo Switch Sports. I'm sure there are other games I played that had golf, but these are the only ones that stand out when I think about golf video games in my lifetime. And these all feel like arcade versions of golf. I never really bothered to learn the rules of golf. I didn't know what par meant. I didn't know what bogey meant. Was birdie a good thing? Double bogey must mean I did doubly good, right? Either way, I dove into Hentai Golf with this lack of knowledge, and I played as poorly as one would expect. I was never great at any of the golf games. I never beat Mario Golf 64. I got pro in Wii Sports through pure luck. I never won in Super Monkey Ball 2. How can I thoroughly cover Hentai Golf when my golf experience is limited and lacking? I had to take some drastic measures. After searching Google, I discovered that the current best golf game on the market at the time of recording was PGA 2K23. Amazon had a copy for about $20, so I purchased it. A few days later, Tiger Woods was in my hands. I should have bought the PlayStation version. This is getting green screened as all heck. It was time for me to learn golf and become a better sports person. To me, the only way to master golf was to win the PGA Tour in PGA 2K23. So I created my character based on Misa, the poster character of Hentai Golf, not the one from Death Note. She doesn't have a last name, so I made one up for her. I jumped into the tutorial and it mocked me 100 times.
Not quite. Let's reset. Try again.
So then I jumped into the PGA Tour. It went horribly. So I started at the bottom. As I went through all these holes, I learned a lot about golf. I learned what par is. I learned what birdie and bogey mean. I previously didn't know different clubs did anything outside of distance. There's Bubba Watson. I know that guy now. I also learned that there aren't many women in pro golfing. Shocking! After roughly 10 hours of gameplay, I won the PGA Tour. I'm a golf pro now, so I can confidently review Hentai Golf. When I returned to Hentai Golf, my skills transferred super well. I played leagues better in Hentai Golf after my PGA victory. Hentai Golf is pretty straightforward. You play golf, and each time you finish a hole, your woman of choice loses an article of clothing. The women are either Misa, 28, Narumi, 25, or Yumiko, 23. Each woman has 12 different artworks to unlock, with 5 variations on each. That's 60 holes per woman. 180 holes of content in this game, and I did them all. Except here's the twist. There isn't any nudity in this game. It's the first hentai game in the series not to have nipples. The stripping stops when the woman is down to her underwear. Not sure why they refused to cross the line with golf when they already had tits out in the other games. More sales with a T rating, I suppose. I don't know. Of course, there's no dialogue here, but we get a pretty solid idea of what the women are like through images like this one. You know, Misa sure loves her bunnies. Another feature, once you complete a course, you can change the preview picture of the hole to the art you unlocked. Having lewd woman displayed above the word hole sure was intentional. Like all the other games, Hentai Golf has 4 packs of free DLC, including 1 DLC with, you guessed it, anthropomorphic art pieces. They were all released on the same day, January 15th, 2024. The DLC provides 4 new courses with new art for each woman, resulting in 12 new pictures. The DLC courses are annoying. They are stupid, gimmicky islands that completely ruins the game of golf. At least in my opinion, I don't like it. I got very frustrated with them because the physics system in this game is flat out awful, and I feel like physics are the key to sports games. But what do I know? On these DLC courses, you're supposed to play more carefully, but it's just not as fun. Also, there's one course where the reward picture is your woman of choice in the snow, but the course itself isn't covered in snow. I get that playing golf in the snow is likely impossible, but I need consistency in my hentai games. Get this woman some clothes. She's going to catch a cold! Hentai Golf isn't very good. In fact, it is the worst golf game I have ever played. Reminder, I've only played Super Monkey Ball 2, Mario Golf 64, Wii Sports, Nintendo Switch Sports, and now PGA 2K23. Hentai Golf is far below all of these. The golf course visuals are bland. The music is so forgettable. But at least there's more than one song. There are frame drops during the intro of every single hole. This game is more offensive than the puzzle games. It's more offensive because it felt like they tried. They seemingly tried to make a genuine sports game instead of a cash grab with nipples. This game goes in the D tier of the hentai game tier list so far. It's upsetting because it was my most anticipated game going into this. Likely because Hentai Golf is the most clever, eye-catching phrase. You know, maybe I would enjoy this game more, or at least put it in C tier if they had the excellent commentary that PGA 2K23 had. I need some dudes talking in my ear saying the play-by-play while I play golf to arouse myself.
All right, let's see if they can compose themselves and knock this one in. Well, how about that? They get the victory, and in fine fashion too.
Oh!
We can't end the historic Hentai Golf segment without explaining its incredible legacy on the eShop. Check out all the versions this bad boy has on the eShop. Hentai Golf Deluxe Edition, Hentai Golf Ultimate Edition, Hentai Golf Extended Edition, Hentai Golf Special Edition, Hentai Golf Premium Edition, Hentai Golf Definitive Edition, Hentai Golf Complete Edition, Hentai Golf Legendary Edition, Hentai Golf Platinum Edition, and Hentai Golf Director's Cut. Why did the developers choose golf? Do they love golf so much that they see the sport and say, let's put hentai in it? Or did they choose golf because of its absurdity? Are the developers just so big-brained that they knew it would catch so much attention? Did they do this so some loser on YouTube would make an hour-long video about all their games? Maybe they already had a pre-built golf system in their arsenal and slapped some hot babes in it. If I had to sum up Hentai Golf in one sentence, it would be, with the lack of nudity, Hentai Golf truly puts the 4 in foreplay. Sorry, what does that even mean? I think I just wrote this for the pun. What a terrible review, it doesn't even make sense! Let me amend that, hold on, give me a minute. Hentai Golf... Hentai Golf is terrible. There, that's my one sentence review. Hey, at least it got me to play PGA 2K23, which was enjoyable, kind of. Okay, I'm gonna go take a quick break. I'll be right back. I'm just heading to Brazil. Woo! Okay, I'm going to write this section while listening to Mario's Brazil music mix, Samba, Bossa Nova, Axé, on YouTube, on B. Matt Santos' channel. It gets me into the Brazilian mood, whatever that means. Hentai World came out in February 24th, 2023. Hentai Girls was released on June 2nd, 2023. Hentai Stars became available on August 11th, 2023. And Hentai Golf hit the market on December 15th, 2023. That's 4 games in 10 months. After Hentai Golf, outside of releasing some DLC, Bikini Games went silent for 5 months. It wasn't until May 4th, 2024, that the next hentai game hit the digital shelves. Hentai Dating Stories Brazil. Ugh. Hentai Dating Stories Brazil is a mouthful. Bikini Games is back for the first time in 5 months. And this time, they wrote an entire visual novel alongside the puzzles. Which is questionable considering the poor English in Hentai World.
It's time to get all these wet cloths and those sweet tai-tais.
This is what I was clamoring for in Hentai Girls and Hentai Stars, so I was super excited to experience this. It's also the second hentai game without nudity. Like Hentai Golf, Hentai Dating Stories Brazil is rated T. This makes the title seem misleading at first, but hentai technically means lewd art. And boy, there is precisely one lewd art in this game, so sure, slap hentai on the title and throw it in the hentai cinematic universe. Travel to Rio de Janeiro with Toji to meet his date Tainara, solve puzzles to unlock the story, and discover what outcome awaits. The eShop description is bare bones. They don't even advertise the music in this description, which is a first for the series. There are currently only 3 extra versions of this game available. Hentai Dating Stories Brazil Deluxe Edition, Hentai Dating Stories Brazil Ultimate Edition, and Hentai Dating Stories Brazil Extended Edition. I'm sure by the time this video goes live, Hentai Dating Stories Brazil Special Edition will be out. So how poorly can this go? Thankfully, we can look at the credits for this game, and there's a dedicated proofreader, so Marcy Borowski, don't disappoint us. Also in settings, you can select your language, and I find it immensely hysterical that the game set in Brazil does not have a Portuguese option. The game begins with dialogue automatically hidden, which is a choice. I sat on this opening screen for about 3 minutes before realizing it. I had assumed they were doing the same bit that Spaceballs did with its intro, where you just sit and watch one thing moving very slowly for an absurd amount of time. It wasn't that. I wish I was watching Spaceballs instead. The main character in Hentai Dating Stories Brazil is Toji, the son of a wealthy CEO. He wants to live an everyday, non-wealthy life, so he goes on an app and meets multiple women, one being Tainara from Brazil. He tells his dad he's going to meet Tainara in Brazil. His dad is disappointed and tells him that without family money, Toji is a nobody. He strikes a deal with Toji and funds his travel expenses and will give him a year to meet these girls on one condition. And that one condition is never revealed to us because he's annoyingly cryptic and just says, "You'll see when you come back." Once Toji arrives in Brazil, he meets up with Tainara, and they quickly fall for each other. There's a subplot about Tainara's friend Marcia, who quit dancing because she's not a competitive person. But beyond that, there isn't much of a story, just 2 people falling in love. It's a slice of life story, and it's cute. The game ends with Tainara seeing Toji off at the airport without cementing a relationship. They say, "I hope to see you again." You fly over 20 hours to Brazil, have sex, and don't even talk about having a relationship? That's some wild stuff. That's some rich people stuff. I guess somewhere between the sex, the hiking trips, the coffee dates, and the dancing, Toji told Tainara about how he matched with many hot babes on long-distance Tinder and is going to visit each one of them. And Tainara took it well enough to still sleep with him and see him off lovingly at the airport. Interesting. The game ends without a follow-up to Toji's father's suspicious deal, which is an annoying thing to leave untouched. It is supposedly the first game in the series, considering Brazil is the subtitle for this. Plus, on the eShop page it says, "Not the last Toji journey." I can't wait for Hentai Dating Stories Paris! As expected with this game, because of Hentai World, there's some messy English littered throughout. Consistent awkward sentence structure, congratulation is shown every time a puzzle is completed, inconsistent accents and character names. But honestly, the sloppy English works here. English is both Toji's and Tainara's second language, so of course they won't have perfect English. I lived in Seattle for a few years, and during that time I worked at an insurance company where I had a boss who immigrated to America when he was younger. English was his second language, and the way many of the sentences in the game read reminded me of how he used to speak. That made the game feel more authentic to me personally. It's not a good game, but I admire that they took their greatest weakness and made it work with an in-universe reason, whether that was intentional or not. Her lips tasted like memories, samba, and the sea breeze. Okay, but that line goes hard. And they use the Oxford comma. A+! The actual gameplay is more sliding puzzles. I went into this game thinking, oh, Hentai World, Hentai Girls, and Hentai Stars puzzles were for babies. Easy peasy. This game will be no issue. And I got humbled so fast. These puzzles are significantly more challenging. I actually have a considerable affinity for sliding puzzles. When I was younger, I was slightly obsessed with this small, little-known MMORPG called RuneScape. RuneScape was my whole life between the ages of 11 and 15. With over 8,500 hours in the game, I played RuneScape night and day. The second I got home from school, it was RuneScape time. If I had an extra 20 to 30 minutes before school in the morning, it was RuneScape time. Thankfully, I broke this addiction when I was 15 because of my girlfriend at the time. She hated RuneScape and always wanted me to stop playing. So I did. However, like many kids who grew up playing MMOs, I learned a lot from that game. Because of it, I became far more social and comfortable talking to people online. Talking with people around the world on RuneScape gave me insight into different cultures and personalities. I had a friend from Qatar in the Middle East. The American education system during the Iraq War told me the Middle East was filled with terrorists. Thank goodness for RuneScape, otherwise I think I'd be a racist. I'd like to eventually make a video about how much RuneScape has shaped me and helped me get to where I am in life. But the most important thing now is how it taught me how to do sliding puzzles efficiently. In RuneScape, monsters semi-frequently drop clue scrolls. These clue scrolls give the player a riddle that leads to a treasure. Sometimes the riddles lead to a puzzle box, which contains a sliding puzzle. When I first encountered these puzzles, I was mad. I spent hours trying to figure them out. The younger me was incredibly stubborn and refused to give up on puzzles, especially if they were part of my favorite game. I eventually found a guide that explained how sliding puzzles worked, and I figured it out. I kept doing these clue scrolls and sliding puzzles and eventually became wildly good at solving them. Several friends would ask me to go on their accounts and do sliding puzzles for them because I enjoyed them and I was damn good at them. It had been about 13 years since I last did one in earnest, so when I started Hentai Dating Stories Brazil, I was rusty. It took me a while to get in the groove, but it eventually clicked, and I was so back. I was solving these puzzles in 1 to 2 minutes tops. I am a massive fan of sliding puzzles. I was thrilled that the puzzles in this game took actual brain cells. In the eShop description of all these hentai games, they tout how the puzzles get progressively more challenging when there are less clothes. I guess it's technically accurate in Hentai World, Hentai Girls, and Hentai Stars. Still, I never felt a difficulty strain until Hentai Dating Stories Brazil. The puzzles truly got more and more complex. Hentai Dating Stories Brazil feels like Bikini Games put their total effort into a game for the first time, mostly. The DLC is a little whack. 3 free downloadable content packs were released on June 28, 2024, a day before I turned 29. These granted access to the art book found on the menu, which shows all the artwork from the story. It's pretty silly that it took them 55 days to release a dedicated menu to view the game's illustrations that were there at launch. The menu they added is awful too, because it doesn't even outline which frame you're on. Like, who designed this? Oh, wait, I can check the credits. I can tell you who designed this. Because obviously it's not going to say person who designed the DLC album, artwork album in the credits. I'm just going to call out the lead. Curse you, Patrick. Hentai Dating Stories Brazil is my favorite hentai game so far. It's in the A tier. I struggled to put any hentai game in the S tier simply because none of them deserve the S tier. But this game, because of the actual effort put into the game, deserves an A ranking. I'd give it a 4 out of 10. That's pretty good for a hentai game. Thank you, Hentai Dating Stories Brazil, for making me only partially regret my time playing you. Well, Bikini Games, what's next? Growing up, I had a pretty cool grandmother on my mom's side. She lived in a literal shack in the woods. She smoked a lot, and I would sleep over at her house every few weekends. When I was there, I would get to watch Shrek 1 multiple times, eat white bread toast, a delicacy when I was 8 years old, and play my Game Boy as long as I wanted to. It's where I finally caught a Chansey in Pokemon Silver at 1 in the morning. I got to the final boss in Shining Soul 2 while I was there. Every time I slept over, I stayed up until 2 or 3 in the morning because my grandmother would sit at her computer and play solitaire until 2 or 3 in the morning. I can still hear the stuttering hum of her dying Windows 98 machine, a machine that ran much faster than Nintendo's eShop. She would silently stare at the screen for hours, immersed in the card game. My mom also often played solitaire on Yahoo Games back in the day. And then at my first office job in 2016, I was told someone got fired because they were playing solitaire instead of working. I have 3 core memories of solitaire. However, the most indelible memory was experiencing it at my grandmother's shack in the woods. Word of the day, indelible. That's the second word of the day. Can I do 2 words of the day? Word of the week, indelible. Despite these memories, I had no idea how to play solitaire. But in the name of hentai, I was going to learn! Reading is for chumps, so I jumped into a game on solitaire.com and brute forced through several games to learn the mechanics. And I found out that solitaire is relatively straightforward. Who would have thought? When I felt prepared to show off my solitaire skills to the ladies, I finally approached Hentai Solitaire. Bikini Games is back at it again with Hentai Solitaire. This is absurd. I can't tell you why, but Hentai Solitaire was when I felt like this hentai thing was getting ridiculous. Not Hentai Golf, Hentai Solitaire was my breaking point. This was when the burnout happened. I had gone through Hentai World, Hentai Girls, Hentai Stars, Hentai Golf, PGA 2K23, and Hentai Dating Stories Brazil, but it wasn't until Hentai Solitaire that I nearly abandoned this project. I spent a few days away from these games and writing to regain my stamina, and I came back feeling fully charged, fully loaded, and able to knock out some solitaire. Hentai Solitaire was first released on June 28, 2024. Again, a day before I turned 29. Pull an ace out of your pocket and check what challenges await you. I think it's cheating in solitaire to pull an ace card out of your pocket and use it. But what do I know? Key features. Each playthrough is a new challenge. 2 game modes, Standard and Tri-Peak Solitaire. 10 stunning girls on covers. Relaxing soundtrack. Oh, it's time for some more sensual music. And because this is the newest hentai game, we only have a deluxe edition and an ultimate edition of the game. This could be our real winner. It's rated T, so we know this game has no tai-tai. But lewd cards await us. I felt prepared to take on Hentai Solitaire after a few games on Solitaire.com. But it wasn't enough, because, to my surprise, I suck at Solitaire. Why can you get soft-locked in Solitaire so easily? And why doesn't Hentai Solitaire tell you when you're soft-locked? After 5 or 6 games, I finally won a game. But it's frustrating. Please do not judge my gameplay on the screen. I'm going to blur it, actually, so you can't look at it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't fear being judged. If I did, I would not be making a video about hentai video games. Although I am making this on a YouTube channel that my family doesn't know about. Maybe I am ashamed. I shouldn't fear cringe or humility because everyone dies, and one day humanity will go extinct. No one will remember this video. There will be no thought about this video left in the world. The only people who will watch this beyond human extinction will be extraterrestrials if they find this video. And if they're watching a video on hentai games on Nintendo Switch from the year 2024, then they should look at something more helpful in understanding our civilization and culture. But anyway, it plays like any old solitaire game. It seems impossible to mess up a card game as old as time. When was Solitaire invented, actually? I'm gonna look this up. Solitaire invented year. 1746? Wow. That's newer than I thought. Solitaire is far less complex than Golf, and not as brain dead as simple sliding puzzles, but any amateur developer can likely make a Solitaire video game. Although, I sure would love a Solitaire game where I can use the D-pad! What is it with the D-pad? Bikini games, you can keep making your slop hentai games, I don't care, but please recognize the D-pad. This is N64 levels of D-pad erasure. There's Standard mode and Tri-Peaks mode. Standard is your typical Solitaire, whereas in Tri-Peaks, instead of pulling 1 card from the deck, you pull 3, and can only use the card on top. I never won a game of Tri-Peaks. It's too complicated for my peanut brain. My brain struggles to comprehend card games in general, to be honest. It's rare for me to learn a card game. In gaming, I can only think of 2 instances where I learned the ins and outs of a card game. The first being Final Fantasy VIII, because it is a masterpiece and my favorite mainline Final Fantasy game. It's a very stupid and flawed game, but I love it. I love all of its cracks. It's not a masterpiece, but I love it. I love it. Triple Triad in Final Fantasy VIII is the best card game I have ever played. It has a banger soundtrack. How can someone not like Triple Triad? Then there's Joustus from Shovel Knight King of Cards. I learned this card game because I'm a sucker for Shovel Knight, and it is one of the few brands I would take a bullet for. Consumerism, baby! I can't think of another card game in a video game I learned. I can only think of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, and I don't count Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. I played that garbage on the GBA, by the way. It's a weird flex, but it's necessary to bring up whenever I talk about Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories because the GBA version is so trash. I can always count on hentai to make me step outside my comfort zone and learn a card game. Hentai Solitaire is pretty dull, but it does what it's advertising. It's a solitaire game with pictures of women. And hey, we haven't even touched the hentai part of Hentai Solitaire. As someone very indifferent to Solitaire, I think the art of this game is the most exciting part. Including the downloadable content released on July 19th, 2024, there are 26 possible card packs to use while playing Solitaire. Almost every card pack uses art from a previous hentai game made by Bikini Games. Hentai Solitaire is the Avengers Endgame of hentai games. Here is every woman in Hentai Solitaire. Misa from Hentai Golf, Tsubaki from Hentai Stars, Yui from Hentai Girls, Tsubaki from Hentai Stars, Narumi from Hentai Golf, Ran from Hentai Stars, Misa from Hentai Golf, Misa from Hentai Golf, Tsubaki from Hentai Stars, Misa from Hentai Golf, Ayame from Hentai Stars, Ran from Hentai Stars, Yumiko from Hentai Golf, Yumiko from Hentai Golf, Narumi from Hentai Golf, Etsuko from Hentai Girls, Shiryuki from Hentai Girls, Yumiko from Hentai Golf, Etsuko from Hentai Girls. Everyone is here, including some new faces we haven't seen. 7 card packs include art from women who haven't appeared in any of the hentai games from Bikini Games. That's because they come from another game I didn't know about, Anime Clock. I didn't buy this game because by the time I learned about it, I was tired of giving this developer and publisher money, especially regarding clocks. Misa from Hentai Golf makes the most appearances, which makes sense since she's the character on the game's icon. She is the Captain America of the hentai series. One of the other free DLC packs included multiple themes to enhance your Solitaire experience. You can change the background color of the game, and they're all hideous. Choose from sensual pink, blue purple, grape purple, eye straining pink, eye destroying red, owl city ocean eyes blue, teal, seafoam green, lime green, lemon yellow, and of course, orange. I tried out some of the less loud colors and matches, and it was a neat way to mix up the game, but sticking to the original sensual pink is the way to go. Some of these colors are awful for a background, especially that red! That's Hentai Solitaire. With its simple gameplay and cosmetic DLCs, it's a very straightforward game. I've said straightforward a lot in this script, I've noticed. Word of the month, straightforward. This game falls in C tier. I can't say it isn't good because it does what it's advertised, even if it reuses some assets. But let's not call it reusing assets. Let's call it cameo appearances from your favorites in the Bikini Games cinematic universe. Hentai Solitaire is the final game.
Wake up, babe! A new hentai game drops!
Okay. Oh. Listen, enough is enough. We have to end it where we had a perfect ending point by comparing Hentai Solitaire to Avengers Endgame. As I said, if I keep writing this script, more hentai games will be released, and I will never finish this video. I'm already 9,000 words deep at this point, probably a lot more if you count all the ad-libbing I do while recording. Wow, I'm calling myself out there. Jeez, I did not remember writing that. So it's time to end the reviews. I will give a brief overview of Hentai Academy. It's like Hentai Dating Stories Brazil, where it's a visual novel with some sliding puzzles. The story is about you, a teacher, hooking up with a fellow teacher and then convincing her to date you when she wants nothing more than a one-night stand. And yes, it has just as bad English as one could expect.
Otherwise, Sensei will get a bad mood and unleash the integrals on us.
What? Hentai Academy isn't noteworthy. It's another hentai game for Bikini Games published by RedDeer.Games. There is nothing new. So here it is, the final tier list of every hentai game made by Bikini Games. A tier, Hentai Dating Stories Brazil. B tier, Hentai World. C tier, Hentai Stars and Hentai Solitaire. D tier, Hentai Girls and Hentai Golf. That's it. That's the final tier list. Except it isn't, because in actuality, all these games are f***ing garbage. They're all in D tier. Why is that? Because they use AI. I'm sure it's been evidently clear since the beginning, at least since Hentai Girls, that there's some lack of authenticity in the art. It shouldn't be a surprise considering all the other AI art slop on the eShop. This Little Mermaid game is genuinely disgusting. AI art makes the development process more manageable for companies, it costs less money and quickens development time, and people will still buy it regardless. At least the people who don't know about AI art, or who do not care that robots are erasing a defining and uniquely human skill, or people who are just horny and don't care. Despite Hentai Girls and Hentai Stars describing hand-drawn art in their descriptions, I refuse to believe that it's hand-drawn. Mostly. I've taken screenshots of the art from these games and tried to find any discrepancies. I'm far from a capable artist, but I can usually catch AI art mistakes. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a single error from my 10 screenshots. This leads me to the credits from Hentai Dating Stories Brazil. There are multiple artists credited to this game. Is this not AI art? Was I a fool to assume it was? Perhaps the artists at Bikini Games have a similar art style. I consulted multiple "is this AI art" machines online, and most came back saying it's AI. During all these, I realized something. We've seen these artists' original art styles. Hentai World. The art style in Hentai World is significantly different than each of its successors. Why? Because the art isn't AI generated. It's authentic. Hentai World was released on February 24th, 2023. This was right before AI art took off. The only reliable and popular AI art generator at the time was DALL-E. Considering what I've seen from this program, I don't believe DALL-E could create something as sophisticated as the art found in Hentai World. Unless I'm mistaken, which is possible, Hentai World is hand-drawn art. It is the only hentai game that lives up to that feature listed in its eShop description. After Hentai World, Bikini Games deployed the AI art machine to speed up development to get their trash-fire hentai games out faster and generate more revenue. But to hide the mistakes generative AI creates, their artists likely fix up all the significant issues. The fewer errors found in the art, the less likely they'll be called out for using AI. And they deserve to be called out for using AI art. You suck, Bikini Games! We're revising the tier list now. Hentai World is the only S-tier hentai game by Bikini Games because it's the only game without AI art. One of the most suspicious things about this is the lack of Hentai World art in Hentai Solitaire. Hentai Solitaire has trashy AI art from every hentai game, except Hentai World. Why is that? Could they have completely axed the original artists for Hentai World, and they want to pretend they never existed? Is Hentai World retconned in this universe? Or did they want one consistent art style? AI-generated art style? I don't know. And these are questions that will never be answered, because they never have to answer them. And that sucks. The real hypocrisy shines in Hentai Academy, the one hentai game I didn't cover because I was just tired of this shit. In Hentai Academy, the main love interest is an art teacher. There's an entire scene where these characters are admiring AI-generated art. It's disgusting how ironic it is. It's gross. This sucks a lot. But I'll give Bikini Studios credit for one thing and one thing only. At least the Hispanic characters in Hentai Dating Stories Brazil aren't white. So they're already better than Genshin Impact in that regard. The art is AI generated and edited by artists. Is the writing AI generated? Or is the localization AI generated? I don't know. The scariest part is that these games are selling. They're selling enough for RedDeer.Games to give Bikini Games their independence and keep greenlighting this attack on multiple art forms. What is RedDeer.Games anyhow? Who are they? The earliest game published by RedDeer.Games on the Nintendo eShop is a cyberpunk arcade puzzle game called Cyber Protocol. This was released on September 26, 2019. They had slow output compared to now, releasing a game every few months. Clumsy Rush, Nirvana Pilot Yume, OMG Police, Car Chase TV Simulator, Brawl Chess, and many others. Some of their games seem genuine. The last survey appears to be crafted with genuine care and effort, while others, like AAA Clock, seemed like the opposite. It wasn't until the COVID-19 pandemic went global in early 2020 that their output increased. And it wasn't until Hentai World did they release different editions for their titles as frequently as they do now. Currently on the eShop, they have 822 game listings, so I did some counting and math. In the 1,247 days between their first release and Hentai World's release, RedDeer.Games published 66 original games and put out 146 editions of their 66 published games, making 212 games total. Seemingly, once Hentai World was released, everything for RedDeer.Games changed. February 24th, 2023 was the release of Hentai World. Today, as of writing and recording, it is August 10th, 2024. It's been 533 days since Hentai World was released, and RedDeer.Games has released 610 games. 72 are original games, and 538 are new additions of their original games. We went from 212 games in 1,247 days to 610 games in 533 days. That is a 187.736% increase in games released after Hentai World. Out of all 822 game listings on the eShop, 684 of them are re-releases of their original games. They've technically only published 138 titles. 83.21% of their game listings on the Nintendo eShop are additions. 16.79% of their game listings on the Nintendo eShop are original titles. This is a staggering comparison. Of course, it's up to each person to decide how they feel about RedDeer.Games' practices of re-releasing games each week to get more sales from people searching the recent releases tab on the Nintendo eShop. But personally, I think it's upsetting, and according to pictures on their website, it looks like they're doing quite well for themselves. Here's RedDeer.Games' website, RedDeer.Games.com. I came here to do some searching, and surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, the website doesn't mention any of the hentai games they've published. There's a whole section for new releases, but there's no sign of their recent games, Hentai Solitaire or Hentai Academy, anywhere in this section. They encourage the reader to check out their game portfolio video, which features over 100 games, and none of their hentai games are anywhere in that video. Even the website's news section doesn't have an announcement for the release of Hentai Solitaire or Hentai Academy. They also advertised their Twitter, so I searched it, and there's no mention of hentai anywhere. I saw they replied to every comment on their video game reel YouTube video, so I left a comment asking where the hentai games were. No response. It's funny how they don't mention these hentai games anywhere, but they keep publishing them. They keep getting new versions on the eShop every single week. My theory is that they are the highest profiting games published by RedDeer.Games, and they keep the lights on so they can publish other games that look far more interesting, like Sprout Valley, PID, or Freaky Trip. In this situation, I would say, fine then, keep your secrets. Everyone has secrets. My secret is that I like Pandora's Tower more than The Last Story. But because their secret involves publishing AI content, it's upsetting. Either they know it's AI and want to avoid the press blowback they'd get from posting about it, or they don't realize it's AI, or they're just avoiding talking about hentai because, you know, porn. I firmly believe they know it's AI because they didn't even give Love Elysium, Secret of the Goddess, the spotlight on their website. They did on Twitter though, so that's something. Love Elysium, Secret of the Goddess is seemingly Bikini Games' passion project. I bought this game, and I beat it. I bought it because I was going to cover it, and now I don't want to cover it. Also because it's just a bad game. It's not fun. It's a massive step up from their hentai games in terms of, you know, like quality of life stuff. Like there's voice acting, there's an auto advance button, the story is fleshed out, and women are actual characters instead of walking sex objects. Holy moly and grand ravioli! Where else can you find peak fiction writing like that? Unless that's AI generated. Very possible. Wait, holy shit. Sorry, I just found a Bikini Games Twitter account. What? They've only tweeted about Love Elysium. They haven't tweeted about their... They didn't even tweet about Hentai Academy. Sorry, this is like actual live reaction right now. Maybe Love Elysium isn't AI. I guess it doesn't really look like AI compared to other games. Maybe it's not AI. Maybe I'm giving this game too much crap. Maybe it's a fine game. Maybe Love Elysium is secretly their best work. I don't know. The funniest thing about Love Elysium is that they misspell writer in the credits. Ritter. Ritter! Oh, so much for proofreading! This is the only game from RedDeer.Games I played outside the Hentai series. So, I can't judge the others. It doesn't look like any of the other games use AI art, though. Maybe they just say, we'll use the AI art, trash games, to fund genuine and authentic ones. But there are some cool games, it seems like. Golf in It could be a genuinely cool golf game. Sprout Valley looks like an excellent little cozy game. Fit My Cat looks adorable. I almost bought One Night Burlesque for this video because it's so intriguing. And then there's AAA Clock. Alright, I said I didn't buy anything else besides Love Elysium, but I did buy AAA Clock. AAA Clock is a banger. Sure, it's a standard clock, but there's so much more. There's a fun little game, it can be used as an alarm clock, there are so many different color schemes, there's so many different themes. Someone could turn their Switch into a clock like I did with my Legend of Zelda Game & Watch. My imaginary girlfriend hates it, but I use it. They also made AAA Clock Gold, usually costing $99, because it's gold. But I got it on sale for $2, 97% off. So worth it. This one doesn't even come with a jumping game like the original has, it's just different pictures of gold with a clock on top. They knew how silly the whole clock being an app was, and they made it even more ridiculous by creating a gold version and pricing it at $99. I am genuinely curious if anyone has ever bought it at that price. Either way, I want to respect RedDeer.Games for trying to publish some exciting games, but my frustrations are too glaring to overlook. It's such a shame they publish games with AI-generated assets in them, and then flood the eShop with dozens of different editions and try to force their games down our throats. It's not even just the hentai games that get the Ultra Special Game of the Year Definitive Edition crap. Look at how many editions their game Endpaint has. At the end of the day, I guess I'm the fool because I spent $17.12 on RedDeer.Games games for this video. How much could you buy with $17.12? You could order 2 Trenta White Chocolate Macadamia Cream Cold Brew iced coffees from Starbucks with tax and tip. You could purchase a storage head, small, winking, from Lego. You could get a month of lackluster health insurance because, for some reason, health insurance isn't a human right in the United States. You could buy 2024's Game of the Year 1,000 Times Resist when it's $3 off. There's a lot I could have spent this money on, so please don't give this company money. They'll keep putting out AI-generated slop like Hentai Girls and Hentai Stars. They're a terrible influence on the Nintendo eShop. There are so many other lewd / not safe for work games on the eShop now because they saw the Hentai series do well, and they knew they could also get away with this. there's a whole series not by RedDeer.Games called Hentai Girls. Hentai Girls Office Romance, Hentai Girls Hot Police, Hentai Girls College Crush, Hentai Girls Sweet Doctor, Hentai Girls Naughty Gamer, Hentai Girls Sakura Romance, Hentai Girls Athlete Crush, Hentai Girls Steamy Maid, Hentai Girls Fresh Firefighter, Hentai Girls Idol Romance, Hentai Girls Racy Racer, Hentai Girls Cat Cutie, Hentai Girls Amazing America, Hentai Girls Summer Sweetie, and Hentai Girls Oban Love. And guess what? They're all AI generated slop too! While the eShop being so accessible for small developers is fantastic, there are glaring flaws, like the lack of quality control. There are plenty of videos on this platform that dive into that subject further. I just came here to explain these hentai games to you because I was curious myself and looked for a video that correctly explained and showed them off. The boobs aren't worth it. Don't fall into temptation. Those are the hentai games. If you made it through the video, first, thank you. And second, I'm sorry that you're very knowledgeable about hentai games on the Nintendo Switch now. I am, unfortunately, knowledgeable as well. Okay. I'm done yapping. Everything I said is subjective. My opinion changes every day, so I'm forever a hypocrite. I'll see you in my Pandora's Tower video. See you later, goons! Stop the really good music. Okay, this is better music for this. This is my addendum to my hentai piece. So I originally planned on having this addendum, epilogue, whatever you want to call it, where I talk about and list like every single hentai game and special edition that has come out since, because there's been like 7 or 8 new special editions. No new original hentai game has released though since my recording on August 10th/11th, 2024. I realized I said at one point in the video I said today, August 10th, 2024, and then at another point of the video I said today, August 11th, 2024, because I was recording it at 2 in the morning. So the time switched over as it does after midnight. You get it. Anyways, I want to talk about two things. One thing is that as I was editing this, I was becoming less and less sure that they were using AI art. When I first started researching for this video, it just seemed so clearly AI to me. But then as time went on, and after I recorded the video and I was editing it and it was in my face like 12 hours a day, I was like, what if this isn't AI art and I'm just an asshole? What if I'm just being an absolute dick to these artists? And I talked to a few friends again, and we really talked it out, and we feel confident, we collective group, I'm not alone here, I'm grouping them in with me. We feel collectively that it is AI art as a base, and then they have artists coming in and drawing over it and fixing the issue, correcting it. I just wanted to say that, you know what, maybe it isn't AI, but I'm pretty sure it's AI, but if it's not, then, well, I messed up. Sorry, I don't know. I had another part of this video that was supposed to be in. During the AI art section, I added this part where the music is AI generated as well, and I came to find out that it is not AI generated. I had an entire section where I went to an AI generating music site, and I had some examples, and I was like, this lines up pretty well with what we're hearing in Hentai Girls, Hentai World, etc. And then I made the Hentai Games official soundtrack YouTube channel for the bit. I did it for the bit, and I got copyrighted on there, and it led me to the real songs that they used, and they likely paid for these songs. You could buy the copyright on them, I found out, so it's not AI generated music. So I cut that part out of the recording, and I think I cut it well enough where it's not obvious that there is another strand of 5-minute tangents in there. I was able to cut it out. I feel bad for the artists behind the music. Like they're not robots, they're human. So I'm sorry, composer. You're cool. You make some good jams. I didn't even talk about Hentai Solitaire soundtrack. Hentai Solitaire soundtrack is a bop. And you know, me using this music might get my video copyrighted, but I guess I don't really care. I mean, I guess I do care because it'll give you guys ads, and I want to give ad-free viewing if I can. Although I know YouTube is kind of cracking down on that. No one can do ad-free viewing anymore. They'll always put an ad. It's just the money will go to YouTube instead of the creator. But yeah, I don't have any plans on monetizing this video. The channel that I'm uploading it on doesn't even have monetization, so I don't make this thinking, oh, this video is going to hit the mainstream, this is going to get wide appeal. I'm just doing this for fun at this point. I've lost my desire to upload on the other channel, so I've just kind of been making stuff for this channel. I can't explain it, it's just how my brain works. I don't know, this feels like a nice little place where I can make hour-long videos about hentai games and really work on my editing and writing, keep up my writing and other skills, learn how to figure out lighting and stuff. I feel I'm pretty impressed with myself with the lighting on this one. I think in my Kubiku video, the lighting was a little rough, along with the audio. I feel like this is better. I think the Kubiku video was better overall, but I think the quality of this one, in terms of like lighting and stuff, is better. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep making videos on this channel, long videos, because I don't know, it's just fun to write, it's fun to edit, it's what I've done for 16 years of my life on YouTube. So I'm just gonna keep doing it, and just doing whatever I want to do. Next video probably isn't actually going to be Pandora's Tower, like I just said about 2 minutes ago, hoping this addendum isn't more than 2 minutes long. It's more than 2 minutes long, but I hope it's not. It's probably not Pandora's Tower. I have a different idea, and I will go with that. But you know, there's always the possibility that my next video is Pandora's Tower, so that's why I'm just going to keep saying, stay tuned for my next Pandora's Tower video, and someday I'll do it. Someday I'll do it, unless I die or something, if I get hit by a car, or I get diagnosed with cancer and they say if you have 3 days to live, I'm like, damn, I can't make a Pandora's Tower video in 3 days. But if they said I had 3 weeks to live, then I could probably crank it out. That'd be my last thing I do on this planet. I'm getting... Alright, reeling it back. I just wanted to say, you know what, it may not be AI art. I'm pretty certain it's AI art, but it may not be AI art. At least as the base, they have 2D artists to cover up all the mistakes. The music is not AI generated. I cut out a part of my video for that. And yeah, just stay tuned to this channel. I hope I make some more interesting stuff. It's about gaming in general. I don't have a specific niche. I'm just picking out ideas on my brain, and I say, who has done a video like this? And it's usually nobody, so I'm like, I'm gonna do it! I feel obligated when I find or think of a video idea that no one's done. Like this one, no one ever really did a huge deep dive into the hentai games, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Okay, alright, now I'm really done yapping, I promise. Let's get back to the color splash music that just bangs so hard. I'll see you guys later.